What's up everybody, Frank Valkyria, welcome to the channel. Today I'm gonna do a reaction to this statement. Unfortunately, actually I have to redo this because by accident I was streaming while recording. So yeah, it didn't go out the way it was supposed to. But anyway, this is a statement that AH Sister released on Instagram this morning. And I just want to share some of my thoughts about this and also ask you what you think about it. So let's read it. It goes like, I still stand with you, Sissy, yesterday, today, and tomorrow. I will always be proud of you for standing up for yourself, for testifying both here, Virginia, in the UK, and for being the voice of so many who can't speak to the things that happen behind closed doors. We knew that this was going to be an uphill battle and that the cards were stacked against us, but you stood up and spoke out regardless. I'm so honored to testify for you, and I would do it a million times over because I know what I saw and because the truth is forever on your side. I'm so sorry that this wasn't reflected in the decision made by the jury, but I will never give up on you, and neither will anyone who stand with you. Forever by your side. Alright, let's go through some of those points. First of all, the points where you see and for being the voice of so many who can't speak for the things that happen behind closed doors. This again, it's a question for my female audience. What do you feel about this? Do you feel represented by this? Do you want to be represented by this? In the face of all the evidence that we have heard, the one that presented in the court and also the one that didn't make it in the court, all those audios in the full length, I feel like that the gaslighting is still going on here. I'm not surprised that this is the position because there is no other way. They have to keep their facade. They have to keep trying to make the people believing in them to, you know, that they're going in that direction, so that these people, which they're still willing to follow their narrative, to follow their belief, despite the verdict, despite the overwhelming evidence, despite the facts, you know, those people will be still there. It's like you're basically rallying up your personal army, those which you will carry with you regardless. And this is actually one point that it's very important. In either side, in either camps, in general, like in between football teams or other kinds of stuff, there are always people willing to behave in a tribalistic way, also politically, unfortunately. And this is the sad part of this type of human dynamic, the tribal aspect of it. People which they're willing to bypass facts for the emotional affiliation with a group. In this case, you know, whether it's some kind of activist or whatever, like more extreme activist group, it's interesting that, for instance, the Me Too movement started out as something good to try to correct, especially in places of power, you know, all those people, calling out all those people which were carrying out abuse. And I think the majority of people, male or female, are actually happy with that, especially in the entertainment industry, where some of those things happen more frequently, it seems, and some of those names were brought to light, and for good reasons. But then again, you get the feeling that when a movement becomes powerful, when a movement gains notoriety and influence to this level, then you start also to wonder if they're still uncorruptible or they've been corrupted by their power. And you also ask yourself whether or not they care more about maintaining that power than actually pursuing the truth. Because to me it seems that a lot of people, especially like some of those supporters by default of AH, they don't seem that they have cared to check the evidence very much, and they seem like they associate themselves by default to those movements, and those movements seem not to you know, take the right side this time. For instance, taking the side of the victim. This time is JD. It happens to be a male, but they didn't take his side, to my knowledge. I haven't seen any statement from, I don't even know exactly if there is an official Me Too headquarter or whatever. Who are the people responsible for that? I actually have no idea. But you see a lot of people silent and a lot of people actually gaslighting and pointing the finger towards the jury, like lawyers that literally less than 20 hours after the trial went on national TV, basically pointing the finger at the jury that they didn't do their job. But you also should remember in the closing argument where she was very adamant in thanking and sucking up to the jury. You should see the video. It's actually free. It's online. You can watch it. So it didn't work that. So the day after went around the country to tell on national television that the jury didn't do a good job. So how about that? What happened behind closed doors? Well, Jennifer Howell probably has a lot of things to say about this, which is ex-boss of sister, and she lived with this woman, Jennifer Howell, for quite some time, and to the point where this woman felt like compelled to leave a statement and also come in aid of JD on the stand, basically, under oath, testifying for JD, while actually she's a friend of WH. So that tells you a lot. A person that is also an activist that chose to be on the right side and came forward to testify for JD. To me, that tells me a lot. But here we go again. We are here witnessing this, that something feels like also that this perhaps, and I'm alleging this, feels like maybe this was written by a PR. Again, I have no clue. It's just an allegation. Feels like this is sort of the polished statement that you need to make that was not even written by her thumbs, but just for the sake of continuing the narrative. So my question to you is this. Do you believe that some of those movements can get corrupted when they become too powerful and they start to weaponize the gender? To me, this has never been men against women, women against men. And I'm pretty sure in my audience and also in general, hundreds of millions of people have seen this. The majority of support are actually, the great majority are actually women for the verdict in favor of JD. So I'm asking you, how do you feel about this? How do you feel about those like movements which they chose and they cherry pick who to be on the side of, regardless of facts? How does it make you feel? Do you feel represented by this voice? So I personally don't feel represented by this voice. And if I have to stand with anybody, I'm going to stand with the truth, because I've seen it and I believe in the judgment of the jury. There was a fair trial with a fair judge. There was also a woman, by the way. And I believe and I stand with the truth, and I stand with the victim. I stand with JD, not Jay-Z. That's another guy. I stand with Johnny Depp. Anyway, guys, always spread love. Sorry for the misstep with the streaming. I'll talk to you later. Ciao.